Hello, I'm Vladimira Briestenska for New Europe TV in Brussels. Today we are interviewing Jan Figel, Commissioner for Education, Culture, Trainings and Youth. So let's go inside and see what he has to say. Mr. Commissioner, what would you say are the main strengths of the current Barroso Commission? As critics say, there are few.
You know, this Commission has a not easy start. It has 5 years behind which were very special, marked by, for example, 2 ratification processes, one on the Constitutional Treaty and the other one is current on the Lisbon Reform Treaty. 3 negative referenda, major economic and financial crisis. And still, I think we have succeeded to be in the middle of not only debates but potential solutions, because we offered several strategic answers or lines to take for us in order to strengthen Europe, whether in terms of competitiveness or cohesion. We have been able to settle the budget for 7 years, budgetary framework 2007-13, to define the road ahead towards fight against climate change, energy efficiency and common energy policy. So I wouldn't idealize, but the Commission has shown that enlarged union, starting with the Commission of 27 different nationals, is more European. It's not only more diverse but also capable to define and to take action. And it's recognized worldwide. For example, just one maybe, we have been accepted as the partner in G20, both in Washington and in London, and position of Commission is very important because it represents the community. It brings part of the answers to the global financial reform or governance, and it proves that it is important, acting, credible Commission. The major features I could share was independence and collegiality, but also quest for professional, not only communication, but professional work in all areas of policies.
As you mentioned, the failure of coming high-ranking politics to Ireland to campaign for Lisbon Treaty, and also considering the low turnout in the EU elections, what do you think Commission could have done better to impart its message and mission? What's the mission actually?
European Commission is not running in the elections. Actually, we supported the communication campaign. We believe that it's important that Europe comes and decides and participates. It's about people, their values, their interests. So I would like and love to see more participation. But on the other side, there is kind of usual mantra in our countries, in our political debates, when Europe is seen as Brussels and Brussels is identified with the Commission. People need to see and to share that they are Europe, that it's in their hands and they can make a difference. Secondly, we cannot criticize or blame or shame Europe for all the problems during 364 days per year, and then for one day we ask people to come and to vote because it is something, it is important. I think we need to know who we are in terms of different levels of responsibilities and to share these responsibilities, because a lot of issues are decided on national level, even on regional or municipal level. And Europe is our common place where we meet, we design and decide on certain issues. Europe is space of freedom, stability, peace, and a lot of growing prosperity if we compare past, whether 20 years ago or 50 years ago. But expectations, of course, are very concrete now and then and today. So Commission is not a candidate in the elections, but we would like to see more participation, especially in some countries. Overall, if we compare numbers, in Switzerland or in United States for the House of Representatives, there are similar numbers, and these are very stable democracies. For the future, I think we need to take some lessons. For example, facilitation of participation in the elections. 10% of Belgian population lives abroad and they cannot vote. As a Slovak citizen, I cannot vote from here, but I can run my bank account from wherever. We have modern technologies, but we do not allow people to use them for some decision making. And then, of course, I think that a role should be played much more by political parties. It's not just campaign before the elections, but 5 years of European policies, European communication, European maturity.
Staying with the issue of EU elections, Slovakia has the lowest turnout the second time in a row. Do you think Slovaks are Eurosceptics or just apathetic?
Slovakia belongs to the group of most supportive populations, countries. So people are in favor of European Union. With the accession to the Union 5 years ago, and then to Schengen, and now to Eurozone, Slovakia is in the middle, in the center of European family. People need to know more and to share more with Europe, with Europeans. I think part of the response is still lack of Europe in daily agenda, whether in media or in practical terms, and still people live European realities because Euro is in every household or Schengen is freedom for all. Secondly, political parties and institutions need to deal with European issues more regularly. It's not foreign policy, it's not something far away from Slovakia to domestify Europe. We are in the center of Europe, and the issue is not so much geographical, but mental, cultural, political. Slovakia went up a bit from the previous rate of participation, but I think that for the future, this is one of the major objectives to improve, not to stay a reluctant observer or a passive member, but active. And I think this is the message also for other elections. End of this year, there will be regional election. In some regions, participation at the elections was lower than in the European Parliament elections. So the notion that it's too far to Brussels is not fully substantiated. It is about people's commitment to act responsibly and responsively and to make a difference by participation.
As a commissioner, but also as a Slovak citizen, how do you evaluate the 5 years of membership of Slovakia in the EU?
Slovakia is a successful new member of the European Union. There are even newer members in the family. So our 5 years means now time to see the results, to look a bit to the process we went through and continue, of course, because Union is moving target, enlargement is on agenda. Slovakia has a role to play inside and outside of European Union. Slovak case or Slovak road is mentioned by many as a good example, very specific, because for some years in the mid-90s we have been totally out. Nobody sort of taken application of Slovakia seriously, or country was not fulfilling criteria for start of negotiations. Then, with a significant delay, we have been able to catch up, to enter the Union, and to continue in the process, because accession to Schengen and Eurozone especially is not automatic, is not so obvious or easy. And because we succeeded, we bear or can use the fruits of this process and progress. And especially in time of crisis, it's very sensitive and reasonable. So our Slovak experience can serve to many as a lesson, as inspiration. Country has overtaken some in the region in the GDP per capita because the economic growth was very significant in last years. Now the downturn is also very visible, but the response is not skepsis or kind of lamentation, but a very reasonable long-term policy within European context. For example, by very efficient use of structural support, regional policy of the European Union, more focus on creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, conditions for making business, doing business in the country, but also for better and more education, better skills of workforce.
So you already mentioned, for example, the innovations and creativity as the other crucial steps in the future policy of Slovakia in the EU. What could be the other steps or points towards a deeper integration from your point of view?
I mentioned innovation because further economic growth and new employment will hardly be connected to other extensive foreign direct investment as we have seen it in the past. I think the future and the future growth is more and more linked to capacity to innovate, to add the value in the production chain. I think integration is in the hands of stakeholders. It means in the hands of democratic member countries of the Union. Any piece of primary law or treaties can be changed only with the approval of all. So the most visible answer to the question about integration is the Lisbon Treaty. If it is ratified, then we will have a new institutional setup. We will have more possibilities to make European Union more efficient, more transparent, I think more democratic. These were the major objectives of the reform. And again, in the space of this new potential reality, it's for all to move, to cooperate, even to compete. And small can be beautiful, smaller can be successful, but it depends. I like to use example of Finland because it's in the Union since '95, from the previous wave of accession. It's 5 million country. Geographically, it was at the margins or at the borders with Soviet camp, with the Iron Curtain. And still this country is very innovative, competitive, socially inclusive. It had very difficult economic time before accession, and it got out especially through investment into education, training, research, innovation. And I think I would like to say that Slovakia could learn from such example because it has many reasons to do it. And last not least, I never understood integration as kind of absorption of a new member or members coming into the family, or assimilation of smaller, younger democracies or societies into the older bloc. I think that integration, first of all, is and means participation as equals. Participation means active response, knowing about the rights, but also about the obligations, being able to take up responsibilities, and acting accordingly. So I think in this sense, we need to learn how to be integrated, and not only some sort of political structures and politicians, but people, society.
Staying still with the issue of EU elections, but also Slovakia. In the recent past, the leader of Libertas, Declan Gainley, blamed you for what he said was the violation of EU rules by supporting the political party in Slovakia. But finally, this Libertas party did gain just one single seat in European Parliament. So from your point of view, does European Union need this pan-European movement?
Europe needs European mentality, structures, instruments, but this is about political belief or cooperation. And I'm happy that major political forces have been reconfirmed, and even major winners, big winners in these elections, and namely my family, European People's Party and Christian Democrats. I think it's important to have these structures functioning and delivering results, not only 50 years ago or 20 years ago at the beginnings or at the fall of communism, but also now. It is about values which unites us. It is about principles which are European or universal. And of course there is freedom to organize something else, to be even more critical on European realities. But as you said, no major pan-European Eurosceptic structure has emerged. So people made the answer to this question. And Commission and commissioners are politicians. They are not officials. And I think that this political dimension of Europe and European institutions is growing. It's expected to grow. And it means we should be able to show our identity, our values, our political affiliation in fair, correct manner. And for me, this is a question of identity, my contribution to participation, to the European future, and I'm happy that it was taken very positively, and this unique voice was very isolated and even not supported by the people.
Moving to the issue of one of the crucial sectors in your sector in Commission, to the education. What were the biggest challenges you faced as your term is coming to the end?
Many people said when I started my portfolio that this is not very powerful. My answer was and is, and now even more, it's not powerful but meaningful, and very meaningful, because education is more. Bildung ist mehr. It's about employability and employment. It is about social inclusion and integration. It is about citizenship, cultural awareness and intercultural dialogue. Living in the global world means invitation to know, to understand, and to shape the globalization. So the access and the quality of education becomes factor of integration, whether we mean locally for the living in the city, or nationally in the country, or internationally. Europe educated is Europe prepared to live together, not only to exist together, and also to live in the world which is more and more complex, competitive, global. I think that we have achieved a lot in 5 years. I don't want to idealize or, make rosy pictures, but to say that, for example, this portfolio with the budget of 7 billion euro for 7 years and a lifelong learning program became the 4th largest portfolio in the Union. The most popular program in the EU today is not in transport or environment, but in education, called Erasmus. We have Erasmus as mobility scheme since 20 years, but also Erasmus Mundus. This is something very special, established in 2004, and it became a flagship of excellence in the world of education. It makes Europe more known, more attractive for the best talents in the world. We have established, for example, European Institute for Innovations and Technology, the EIT. It was Barroso's Commission idea in 2005, and it became a reality last year. And now there is competition for so-called knowledge and innovation communities for the EIT in areas like renewable energy or sustainable energy, climate change, and new information and technology and communication technologies. We have established first ever European agenda in area of culture, which is very sensitive and very meaningful for living together in diversity and unity. We have brought the first ever white paper on sport in Europe. It's very popular. Sport is important for social inclusion, for values, for fairness, for tolerance, for something what is close to people. And the same values are needed in democracy or in society. So I'm happy that sport and the European Union are more and more together. And in the new treaty, for the first time ever, there is sport article. And last not least, I was first ever commissioner for multilingualism. So 5 years ago, we have established, after 50 years of realities growing around, multilingualism as a policy on its own. And of course, it's very important for education, for intercultural dialogue, for feeling and sharing this richness of Europe in practical terms. I could continue with elaboration like Bologna process, which is going on, and after 10 years embrace the whole continent, and we support this process. First time non-European countries participated in this process. We have established Copenhagen for vocational education and training, the process where 33 countries work. And last not least, we have agreed, for example, the next 10 years of enforced cooperation in education. I'm really encouraged by this because education unites. It's very central for future of individuals, but also of societies, and also for future of Europe.
If I can, my last question, I will repeat your words as you said that people say that, for example, education is not really powerful area. Exactly in these times, in these days of the big economic crisis, the criticism rising saying that areas which don't bring the short-term benefits and profits should be declining, should not have so much attention. Do you agree with this statement?
I do not agree, and I would say we should avoid or fight against this temptation to cut long-term objectives or non-material investments like education or culture, because any serious response should count on the quality or enforcement of human potential, which means educated people, skilled people, those who invest into education, training, research, innovation, will get out of crisis faster and smoother, and prepare maybe for future challenges, future critical moments. Those who cut down, for many reasons and with a lot of arguments, this sort of investment, they are eating down next spring seeds. So what they will seed when spring comes or post-crisis time is really approaching. It is about our kids, it's about next generation, it's about our lifelong learning. So I would say no, rather opposite. We should increase spending or investment in these areas. And when I mentioned Finland, in 90s, they did this sort of decision. And after 5, 10 and now 15 years, one can see this was very reasonable, long-term, strategic, and it really makes a difference. And there is a nice British or English saying, don't be penny wise and pound foolish. So let's don't cut what seemingly could help in short term, but be detrimental in long run.
So I hope we can help also the critics to understand the importance of this issue by our interview. Thank you very much.